just saw you and I love you and I miss you. And oh, what a fun weekend we had.
We know how to do 48 hours.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you still feel this way or maybe it's just with little kids, but I had a ton of like guilt and anxiety leading up to the trip. I was like, should I be going? Is this overindulgent? I feel so grateful that, we have friends that this is possible, but we couldn't have a friendship if we didn't fly to see each other.
No, it's true. And I have none of that anymore.
I know you're like, I have zero guilt.
I will say the only thing that like leading up to it is like, fuck, I don't want to leave Archie. And it's not even Dexter. It's not even my kids. It's just Archie. Cause I know that no one loves him like I love him. And I feel like when I leave, he's like not getting love and attention. And that's where it comes from. But maybe that's how you feel about it.
That sounds like mom guilt to me.
Yeah. Okay, fair.
But I will say it all floated off into the universe the minute my alarm went off at about 4:30 in the morning. And I said to you a couple days before, I was like, oh my God, I have to get up so early. And you were like, suck it up, Buttercup. You're coming to see me. And I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I can get up this early to see you.
The only time my alarm goes off and I'm not mad about it is when we're traveling.
True.
You know what I mean?
True. And like I rocketed to the airport, got on. We had a pretty much I had a smooth flight. You had a smooth flight, but LAX, can we make some complaints about the system? Nightmare.
But I don't remember it being like that. I remember, I don't know. I've been to LAX a few times and I'm like, every other time I don't remember it being like that, but maybe it's because I didn't meet someone from Canada at the same time. You know what I mean? Like you were in a terminal in like New York and I was in a terminal in like LA and we had to like walk and meet each other. And then we're like, where do we even catch an Uber? Where do we get? And so we just got a taxi because we're like, fuck it, Uber sucks today. You know, it's like.
We had to take a shuttle. Like
yes,
we had to board a shuttle to even get to the Ubers. And I was like, this is not passenger friendly. Like I wouldn't have known that I had to get on a shuttle to even catch a taxi or an Uber. And everybody that got on that shuttle bus was equally as confused.
Yeah. You would still be in LAX.
I would still be in LAX wondering where you and the Ubers are.
4 days. Where's Raina?
But we tossed on our sunglasses, got in that taxi and cruised right to, I think it was called Hotel Irwin. Highly recommend.
Rooftop. And the sun was out. The sun was shining. We could see the ocean. We were looking right over Venice Beach. That was an awesome spot.
And I gave no fucks about sunscreen.
Oh no, and you're paying the price now.
Zero. I don't know what happened to me. Like there is not a moment that I don't lube my body in sunscreen, my face, my body. Anytime.
You're kind of pale, reddish hair. You know what I mean? Like you're like the prime. You're welcome.
That was a sexy picture you just painted of me. Pale and red.
Red hair. That's
yes.
Well, you're like who the sun targets usually. The sun hates her. Me. Let's get her.
Let's get her good. You know what? Put on your mullet because okay. I don't even want my redheads.
We don't even have time to waste.
I don't even have time to mess around with this story.
No.
Okay. Ready?
This whole trip was mullet energy.
It totally was. 3, 2, 1. Mullet.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh. That was a little crisscross. There we go.
Nailed it.
Now I don't feel like the pale redhead.
Yeah, now you're just Dale.
Well, we rolled into that rooftop bar and the best was the guy that checked our luggage and asking for our IDs. And of course, like I'm older than Raina, but you would never guess.
Never.
Raina, you went first to this ID checker guy. And what did he say to you? He checks your ID and he was like, you're still looking pretty good. Or you're still
for your age. And I was like, I'm 36. At first I was flattered because I was like, thanks. And then I'm like, wait, I'm only fucking 36. Like, what do you mean at my age? Like,
and he was backpedaling. Oh boy.
I know you. I just mean you look good. I was
like, bro, The damage is done.
But
Okay.
I still felt good. I still felt good getting that compliment.
True. Nobody's going to stop us
I'll
at
take
that
it.
point.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we strutted across that rooftop. We saw our two girlfriends. If you don't know, Ashley and Shannon, beautiful humans. And I mean, I think anybody that watched our social media post trip was like, okay, stop talking about your friendship. Like we were like, it's the best soulful connection.
But you know, I think I disagree because I just went to yoga last night and my friend Andrea was like, I loved your reels. I loved your stories. She was like, you can just see the friendship that you guys have on camera and it's just like behind the scene and it's just beautiful. She said, and I was like, thank you, because it
Well,
feels beautiful.
it really like it's a bit crazy
Yeah.
because I know that like we've shared like our friendship. I'm like, that was divinely
Yeah.
planned, you and I. Like I go that I can't explain and everything we've been through and
Yeah.
the hours of a friendship that you and I've cultivated, and then just it organically added to.
Mm-hmm.
And especially as adult women, we don't make friends
Yeah.
that easily.
No.
I'm not picking up other women at the bar being like, anybody want to be my friend? Anybody?
No.
Somebody be my
Well, shit,
friend.
I barely make eye contact at the grocery store, let alone like out hunting for friends. You know what I mean?
Well, and I'm too busy. Like they're like this is what we hear from so many women about making and keeping and having friendships is it's like, well, when do I have time?
Yeah.
And that's what kind of we talked a lot about was this trip was also giving ourselves permission to, at least for me, be me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like as a mom, I know I talk to you about this all the time. I'm like, who am I? I lost me.
But the thing about the four of us is that it's so easy to just be ourselves. You know what I mean? Like we can sit down and we can talk for hours and I don't feel like I'm wearing a mask. I don't feel like I'm filtering myself. I don't feel like I'm, hiding anything. There's zero, I told my therapist, I'm like, there's zero judgment. There's zero drama. There's zero, jealousy, like any of that. It is just so genuine and natural and fun and like uplifting and encourage. I mean, we talk about goals, we talk about vision. We're like, you're like, what's next in your business? You know what I mean? Like we are literally all growing together and it feels so cool.
And cheering for each other. Like
Yeah.
that, I think is also very rare
Yeah.
in female friendships where you get multiple women together, not just you and your bestie, because your bestie should be your biggest cheerleader. But like I go, man, all four of us are like rootin' tootin' for the other girl. Like,
Rootin'
let's
tootin'.
go, rootin' tootin'.
Yeah.
What do you
Rootin'
do?
tootin'.
Rootin' and tootin'. But that's great for
Yeah.
female friendships or any type of a friend is you want that person to be your biggest cheerleader and you're like,
Yeah.
let's do more. I don't know. I mean it kicked off on the rooftop. We had an amazing like evening, gosh, the laughs. But I
Yeah.
think the highlight for me was the next day at brunch when we
I was
filmed.
just gonna bring that up.
Oh my God. Now, people listening, you might not care. You might be
Yeah.
like, social media, I don't understand. But Ashley, one of the girls, made such a good point. So we spent about 4 hours drinking bottomless
Not
mimosa.
about, we spent 4 hours drinking bottomless mimosas and creating one reel.
Through that, through that
One
time
reel.
well spent.
Yeah.
One
But
reel.
I think like to back up a little bit, like we kind of, as soon as we're together, we're all on social media. We all have a presence on social media, but we love having like fun on social media and making it where it's not about like business or it's not about any of that. So we all throughout these last like few months were just like scrolling and saving reels and this one would be fun to create and this would be fun to create. And it's all like best friend type reels. And so the next morning we go to brunch and we pull up this one and we're like, this would be hilarious to recreate. And it was so many like cut back and forths between people. And this one guy had made it himself. And it was the one we were recreating from this guy. But so we're all just like, okay, who's going to be what? Who's going to play what role? And we literally spend 4 hours with people buzzing around us in the background.
Oh
Like
my
the
God.
restaurant is still going about doing all of its thing and waitresses coming up and people coming in and out of the restaurant. And we literally are spending 4 hours solid. Keep the mimosas coming.
keep
Flipping
them, yeah,
between.
keep coming in with the mimosas because we
Oh
were
my
going through
God.
pictures and laughing.
It
But
was so funny.
got to this point where I think it was Ashley or Shannon, or maybe even you, we kept making the joke of like, is anybody else even in this restaurant? Like we were in our
Nobody
own,
cares. Yes.
nobody cares. Like we were in our own
Nobody can
bubble
see us.
of,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we kept saying. We
Yeah.
were like,
Nobody can
nobody
see
here
us.
can see us because we were in our own zone. Like we didn't care what anybody else said. I was playing the role of the waiter. So I would get up, change, put a different costume on,
Yeah.
put a napkin over my shoulder. So it looked
Stand
like,
up at the end of the table to
yeah,
act like the waiter, and then we'd
act like
record,
the waiter. Then we
and
would
then
get
you'd
back
sit
down.
down, play your next role.
Oh my gosh, dying laughing. It
Yes.
was it was one of the highlights and some of the funniest things. And I like, if you haven't checked out that reel,
Yeah.
come
So
on.
funny.
It's so funny.
Oh my God.
Well, we rented bikes after that. We biked
Yeah.
from Venice to Santa Monica.
Yeah.
We saw some aerials, some slack lining, people
Yeah.
tossing each other around, a skateboard bowl.
Yeah. I mean, that's like one of the best places to people watch.
That is the juiciest place
It's
to be.
like prime
Prime
meat.
watching. Prime
Prime
sniffing.
watching.
But
Prime.
and I also kind of looked around and I was like, man, everybody here is outside.
Oh, I know.
Like
Isn't
I didn't,
that's that's like what that's the pull to California, is that everyone is out and so active and the sun is shining and everyone's just doing their thing and everybody's like, like, I don't know, if you're not watching, I'm like, just swaying back and forth, just like living your life, dude. You know what I mean? Like everyone is just, no one can see me.
nobody can see me.
Nobody can see
Everybody
me.
is 100%.
Living
And
their life.
nobody's, oh yeah, they're just living their life. And I was looking around going, where's it? Nobody's on their phone. Like, okay, you guys are all just interacting and chatting and being sporty and like it was a real vibe.
Yeah, it really was. I love it so much. Yeah. That was such a fun time doing the biking, and we're all just trying to film and bike and I mean,
Again, just laughter.
just laughter, non-freaking stop,
Yeah.
non-stop.
And then tragedy kind of struck.
You could say that.
Wow. We went
Shannon
to
talk about it on her podcast.
Shannon has talked about it on her podcast. And if you haven't heard the whole story, we'll tell it from our point of view because
Yeah,
I think
we saw all of it.
we saw the whole thing, and Raina and I definitely reacted a bit differently.
Yeah.
Here's how it plays out. We then, I don't know if all, because this isn't a thing in Canada, but in most of the places we've traveled, you can like rent a scooter and you just scoot around, which I think is amazing.
We scooter hard.
We scoot and we're a scoot gang.
We're a scooting gang.
We are a scootin' bootin' gang.
Yes.
And we mean business, and we are full top speed. We're right in our, we're in
right in there with traffic.
We're right in there with traffic. We signal. We're very, very safe. So, so we get our scooters and we are heading to kind of like a happy hour. And
we're down like Pacific Avenue, like in Venice, like the Venice sign is above us. Like we're scooting right in the middle of the action.
We're in the heart. Yeah. The big Venice sign is above us. We're in a roundabout, and our line looks like Shannon's at the front, then Ashley, and then I think you.
Yeah.
And then me. I'm bringing up the rear.
Yeah.
And we enter this roundabout, and Raina and I are pretty close together, and the other two are a bit further ahead.
They're like, yeah, like I would even say like 100 feet. Like not, I mean, they were a little bit ahead of us. And I look over, we're going in the roundabout. We start to go to the right to go in the roundabout. I see this giant bus to the left. So I'm like, okay, the bus is coming, but it's behind us. And we had kind of, merged in to be ahead of the bus. And then
all I see is Shannon eating concrete. Like,
I think you were like, whoa, or something like that. And I look up, I don't know what I was looking at. And then I see Shannon on the ground, and Ashley, I saw fall. She like kapooed right behind Shannon.
Mid-air ninja over the bike or over the scooter and ate concrete too.
Yeah.
Both of them sprawled out on the middle of this busy roundabout with like buses, and Raina and I, of course, we
were so far behind where I like saw it and I was like, like we both were like
Are they
fighting the
joking?
laughter almost. You know what I mean? But it's such a bad thing because you're like, you don't want to laugh because your friend's hurt. But anytime someone falls, you just want to laugh. And then
But we didn't know how
we didn't.
bad it was.
Right. And we didn't laugh. We were just like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah, it was one of those like, oh my God.
Yeah. And then you see Shannon slowly start to get up and she's fucking, and I'm like, okay, we need to pull over for this. But we were so far back, like it wasn't, I didn't have to slam on my brakes. I didn't have to do anything. I just kind of went over to the right and we got on the sidewalk and, waited for them to kind of get up.
Well, I thought they maybe hit a pothole, right? So
Something.
I was getting ready for like Shannon went down, ate concrete. Ashley ate concrete. Then I thought, I guess Raina's going to eat some concrete. And then I was just going to like
Cruise right on by.
I was going to cruise right by and be like, later, bitches. but yeah, we definitely knew something was not right. And so we all pull over. And Shannon claims that there was another car coming and she almost got hit by a car, which
Yeah.
we were far back. So we didn't really see, I didn't see all the.
We didn't really see, but as Shannon and Ashley were getting up, the car speeds on by and it's teens and they're like laughing and pointing at Ashley and Shannon who had fallen. And so in my mind, I'm just like, okay, these fuckers were coming full steam, not giving a fuck that there were people on scooters or even yielding or anything. They were just going to go straight in through the roundabout. Shannon sees them and is like, I'm going to get hit if I don't stop, slams on her scooter brake, kaput, kaput, and then actually kaput, kaput right behind her. And then people are laughing and like pointing and screaming on the streets of Venice.
Yeah. So then there was people out and about and not one person came to help, which was shocking. Number one, I'm like, what is happening here? I would have been like, if somebody bites it, I'm like, are you okay?
Yeah.
If there's a car accident, I definitely pull over. Like, I didn't understand the pedestrian vibes out here. I was like, there was people eating concrete and nobody is out to help.
But again, no one else exists.
True.
We were in Venice.
Maybe they're in their bubble.
Yeah.
Maybe they're in their bubble. We're in our bubble. But I was floored that nobody came to help. And so I went and grabbed Shannon's scooter. We kind of helped the girls off to the side of the curb and start taking assessment of what we think is like, we're like, oh, it's probably just a scuff. And then
hopefully just a scuff.
Yeah, we're hoping it's just a scuff.
Yeah.
Shannon's hands are bleeding, like they're a bloody mess.
Yeah.
And she starts going, I can't really move my arm, like her elbow joint.
Like she couldn't straighten it.
Yeah, like she couldn't straighten it. And Ashley
just got some scratches, I think.
Yeah, Ash was just kind of scratched. Yeah. Thank goodness she didn't tear. She had really cute pants on. So no
Thank
pants.
God we saved the pants.
No pants were injured in the scooter accident. And we just thought, okay, well, let's walk it off, which is the typical thing that I think everybody does at the beginning of an injury, where you're like, maybe it'll heal itself. Maybe
if I just don't think about it.
Maybe I just walk it off. Yeah. Everything will be okay.
Yeah.
And we went out and you could definitely see, like, we said, listen, let's all have a cry. Who needs to cry here?
Cry, cocktail, sushi.
That's what we needed to have happen in that order. And we managed to do that.
Yeah.
And I've got to tell you, I've injured myself and I can be a real baby. Shannon was a fucking champ.
I don't even think she actually cried.
She got a bit misty-eyed, but then she was like, okay, I think it's fine. I think it'll just, maybe there's maybe it's just inflamed.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's fair. And as the night goes on, it's like getting a little puffy and she's still not able to straighten it. We're like,
yeah. And as the night goes on, it's starting to bruise. And then I'm like, you might want to get this thing checked out. But she was a fucking trooper. Like, I would have milked that for a ton of sympathy. I would have been, I know, I would have been.
You'd be in a sling right now.
Oh, I'd be in a full sling and I would need so much love. And we went and had the most amazing, like, that was such a funny night. We, again, were filming reels and laughing. Yeah. We weren't going out. We weren't like bar hopping. We went back to our Airbnb and laughed.
Yeah. We made one drink and like nursed it, ate chips and ice cream and just recorded reels.
It was the best.
It was.
I don't know what else. There's nothing else I needed.
I know.
And this is where like, if you guys know, I do have a thing. I like to share I don't like to be alone. So I am happy when Raina
Mm.
gets to share the bed and a space with me. And thank goodness, because we like to go back and debrief.
Happy to
So
report. Yeah, last episode you were like, I don't know if there's gonna be any, I'm gonna be pissed if there's not, if we can't sleep together. And we walk in and there's like 3 bedrooms, and Allie's like, fuck yeah. That means 2 people have to share.
and it was
So we
even
did.
and it was upgraded because there was 3 bedrooms, one of which was in a separate guest house, like
Yeah,
a garage that
like a
was
redone garage.
redone into, which was maybe sketchy. I mean, we don't know if
Yeah.
it was totally safe, but
We're here to tell the story.
yeah, Raina and I were in the garage. So I was like, so I get to share a bed and a garage with Raina? Heck yeah, this is the best
Yes.
trip ever.
And
But
we
it's
did. We debriefed every night. But I
well,
will
that's what I
say
meant.
there was the last night I said something, and I think you thought I said good night, and you were like, okay, good night. And I was like, okay, guess we're not talking about that. Like I said, I don't know what I said. I said something, but it wasn't good night. And you go, good night. And I was like, oh, okay. Good night.
Okay.
Good night. She's tired, I guess.
Well, I might have just needed to check out because, you never, do you sleep well when you travel?
I usually do, but there was one pillow
It was
and
the
it was
worst.
as thin as a piece of paper. It was like so my head is like this as I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? Like my head's like not even
Zero neck
aligned with
support.
my spine. Yeah. So I turned quite a bit just to kind of stay comfortable. But I mean, I sleep like a freaking rock anywhere.
Oh, I know. I know. Like I don't hear from you. You tuck in and then disappear until the morning.
Gone.
I'm like,
Gone.
okay.
Yeah.
No, it was all in all a great trip. That I love a good debrief. I love a good dream session. I like hearing, and I like hearing what everybody's creatively thinking and excited to do and
Yeah.
oh, this could work. And we're
Yeah.
not we're not all in the same profession, but we all hear each other out and like to add on to what someone could
Mhm.
do. Have you thought about this? What about this
Yeah.
angle? And I think that's
And that's
just
kind of my favorite part of the last day that we had. Like we left at like 3 and 4 p.m. the next day. So we got like a half day, a full day, and then another half day. And that other half day, Shannon had to leave a little early. And so me and you and Ashley went to brunch. And it was the exact same when we were on our trip last time. We sat at brunch and we just talked for like 2 hours. And it's like, okay, what are you doing in your business? What's your goal? What's your vision? What are you thinking when the kids this? Like, and I'm just like, that is one of my favorite parts because I had therapy the next day and I told my therapist, I'm like, I literally come home and I'm like motivated and I have this like a little bit more belief in myself and a little bit more belief in the direction I'm going. You know what I mean? It's just like this you guys like breathe belief into me and I'm like, okay, I guess I can. You know what I mean? And I think that it's the same all the way around. That's one of my favorite parts of our trips.
and you hear all this stuff. Again, maybe it's just all social media about, you know, um, the comparison and the jealousy and lack of support in just the female space. And I think it's a great blessing because we do champion each other, but I think that that also is just like in our personalities because I'm like, yes, I want you to win because as I say to you, I'm like, I want you to win because I'm coming along for the ride. Like,
Right.
like I the more people that can win, the more cool stuff. Like let's just keep winning
Yeah.
and discussing it. I'm like, I'm excited to see what the next 5 years has to be for all four of us. But there's just I think we're all in a big transition thing. Like everybody's kind of coming out of old jobs and going into new things and pursuing new things. And everybody shared thoughts and dreams and
Yeah.
everybody held space and we're like, okay, yeah, I like that idea. Have you thought about this? And there was not one moment that kind of I went somewhere negative,
Not even one.
yeah, there was not one like, oh, I'm not doing enough. And you know what's funny because it was the last trip and you girls kind of called it out because all three of the girls, like there's four of us, and all three of you guys have very big presence on social media. And I would make fun of myself. I'd be
Mhm.
like, well, I've got, my small follow, like
Yeah.
I'm not even close to you guys. And there was a moment where I think it was you and Ashley were like, you keep belittling that, or you keep talking down to something that we know is important or that you like and enjoy, and stop doing that.
Yeah.
And so it's this
It's
great
keeping you in that space.
Yeah, it's keeping you in that space. Like you're just, when you talk down to something, Ali, you're keeping it at that low vibration. So stop it.
Yeah.
And it was not received by me in a negative way. I didn't feel judged, but I actually listened.
Yeah.
Like there was me hearing my friends speak to me in an educational way, almost like they were like, you guys were trying to teach me something, and I'm not too big to hear the lesson, and definitely not from two people that I really respect.
Yeah.
And I think that that means so much.
Yeah.
Because if not, then I'm left just like, I hate this and
No. And it's so hard, I think, to bring something like that up, but I think because of where we all are, like we do have that confidence in speaking to one another and being honest with one another and calling each other out on our bullshit excuses and thoughts and limiting beliefs and all of that. And I don't know, that's another thing I love about all of our friendship.
But there are definitely friendships that I go, if I called someone out on a behavior or a thought, they might take offense to it and be like, oh, Allie's rude.
Yeah.
Where
Not
there
in
is
this house.
not in this house. But that's like, it's such a delicate, I think, obviously the delivery and the timing and all that sort of stuff. But having friends that do talk to you even on your, on the things you're trying to work on, and they go, okay, you got to keep working on that one.
Yeah. Here's
You're
an
like,
example,
okay.
Ali.
Here's an example, Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all in all, 10 out of 10 trip.
10 out of 10. Yes.
Yep.
Already planning the next one.
Already planning the next one. We brought the mullets, and
Yes.
that's also funny too, because the girls hadn't really seen the whole mullet thing, and they were like, this is hilarious.
Yeah. Knocked a couple reels out.
Oh yeah, the content, the mullet content is hot.
Yes.
It's hot, hot, hot. But from here, I mean, let's do another, like, toss it out to anybody that's listening. Slide into our DMs. I would love to do another Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think we went through all of the questions. And, maybe we can do some hot topics, some mullet magic next week.
Yeah.
Let's do it all.
Yeah, slide into the DMs and tell us what you want to hear, because we're literally like an open book, and we can literally, like, we get on the phone like this. This is like what the podcast started. We were like, people need to hear our conversations and hear our connection and hear how funny we are sometimes. You know what I mean? And we're literally just here to kind of have our friendship and share it with you guys and allow you guys to be a part of it. So chime in, ask questions, tell us what you want to hear.
And tune in next week.
Call us out.